Cormac. So we're going to take private members' business. Motion for pension equality and fairness. Can I call on Deputy John Brady to move the motion?
Thanks, Cahirlook. I move the motion.
And you have 20 minutes.
Yep, I'm sharing the time. I'm taking 10 minutes, Cahirlook, and Deputy Mitchell is taking 5. I'm not sure who's speaking after that.
I'm in there too.
Yeah, OK. Minister, this motion on pensions is fundamentally about two things. It's about fairness and it's about equality. It's about fairness for those who are obliged to retire at 65 years in accessing their state pension, and equality for all women when they retire. This motion is about correcting the mistakes made by Fine Gael and Labour in the pension reforms made in 2012, reforms that were made without any long-term thinking or forward planning, with no adequate processes put in place alongside those reforms. This motion is about rectifying the injustices that were imposed on women by the marriage bar, which was not abolished in this state until 1973. The marriage bar was an appalling injustice which impacted on an estimated 47,000 women, and this grave injustice is yet to be addressed. The 2012 pensions reform were ran through the Oireachtas and they were wrong. Sinn Fein opposed them then and we oppose them now. In bringing forward this motion, we have engaged with a number of organisations on this motion: Age Action Ireland, the National Women's Council of Ireland and the Irish Congress of Trade Unions. Minister, this week over 5,000 65-year-old men and women will receive their weekly job seekers payment of €188. In many cases, these are men and women who have worked for 40 years or more, contributed to their pension and then cannot access it. These are people who are obliged by contract to retire at 65 and are left with job seekers as their only option for income. No 65-year-old in this state should be forced to sign on for a job seeker's payment due to the failure of Fine Gael and the Labour Party to plan effectively when increasing the state pension age to 66 and abolishing the state transition pension. Where else in the world would you see a system where on retirement people are pushed onto job seekers for 1 year before accessing their state pension? I've lost count of the number of people who have come to me and through my offices telling me the same story. They retire as they were obliged to do at 65. They go and apply for the state pension and they are told they simply cannot have it. The option for them is to apply for job seekers and they are quietly told to take the money and not to worry about seeking work. It is an absolute farce, Minister. It is an absolute joke. This situation is one of many examples of reforms being pushed through here without any forward planning or care for the consequences. The increase in the state pension age came about with no political debate, no public consultation and no cost-benefit analysis of that measure. This motion, Minister, is about fairness. It is about fairness for those who have no choice but to retire at 65, who are being deprived of a pension that they have earned and paid into. A few weeks ago, Minister, a lady contacted my office. Her husband had worked all his life until he was forced to retire at 65. He had no option but to sign on for a job seeker's payment. He had taken in, never having to look for anything from the state. He had always managed to support himself and his family through his own work. On retirement, Minister, this couple decided to travel to Australia to see their children and their grandchildren. However, they were told if they leave the country for longer than 2 weeks, then his payment would stop. It would be revoked. This man, Minister, died shortly after his retirement, but his wife saw fit to contact me to inform me of the distress caused to her husband on retirement because of this situation. He retired after a lifetime of work and paying diligently into his pension pot, and then he simply could not access it. This issue has been raised by the Irish Congress of Trade Unions time and time again, yet their calls on government and to the Department of Social Protection have gone ignored. Age Action Ireland have been to the fore on this issue, and I commend them for supporting this motion here this evening. They know the hardship, Minister. They know that these measures have had on our older citizens, and their input into this motion has been invaluable. I cannot foresee any reason for any TD in this chamber, surprisingly enough. Fianna Fáil, who have been very, very vocal on this issue, are noticeably absent on a very important motion, and only one member of government, no members of the Labour Party. But having said that, I foresee no reason why any TD should come in here tomorrow and vote against this motion, and a vote against fairness for those retiring at 65. I know that this issue has been brought to the attention of all TDs by constituents right across the state. These same people will wait to see if their TDs believe that they should be entitled to a state pension on retirement at 65. Minister, we know that women have been directly impacted by changes made to the calculation of contributions and the changes to the band rates imposed by Fine Gael and Labour in 2012. These reforms have condemned thousands of women to poverty in their retirement years. Anne has said, "I am totally disgusted with the system which does not entitle me to a full contributory pension after a lifetime of fully contributing to Irish society." Peggy said, "I and other women like me are facing a very uncertain and impoverished future." Another quote, "I was affected by the marriage bar. We are the forgotten women," Mary said. These are only the thoughts of 3 women out of many thousands who are receiving less than the full state pension, Minister. For women, the pension system is utterly unjust. Women who take time to care for someone or to raise children are discriminated against. And the impact of the imposition of the marriage bar, which was imposed on women, still lingers as it has lessened their pension entitlements. This was not any fault of women themselves, Minister, yet they are the very ones having to pay for it to this very day. A person with a yearly average of 29 contributions who qualified for the state pension before September 2012 gets a pension of €228.70, whereas a person with the same yearly average who qualified post-September 2012 gets a pension of just €198.60. That is a cut of €30. The National Women's Council of Ireland have highlighted the gender pension gap, and part of their breakthrough manifesto before the last general election called for this gap to be closed, something supported by many ahead of the election, and clearly not so much now. The opportunity is before us. I want to thank the National Women's Council for Ireland for supporting this motion here this evening also. Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael have talked the talk when it comes to pensions. In fact, they've been talking about pensions for years. The time for talking, the time for green papers, white papers, studies and reports on pensions is over. What we need, Minister, is action. We need to tackle pension inequalities, and we need to do it now. There is a simple choice for all TDs in this chamber this evening, and that choice is one of fairness and equality. Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil in particular need to ask themselves 2 very simple questions on this motion. Is it fair that those obliged to retire at 65 are forced onto job seekers? Are women entitled to an equal pension to men? If the government, Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil, are not willing to support this motion, I would call on them to postpone increasing the pension age to 67 in 2021 and to 68 in 2028. We are moving much faster and further than any other EU country in increasing the pension age without adequate plans in place. The pension age should not extend to 68 years unless done as a part of an EU-wide initiative. I would ask the Department to seriously rethink these additional increases. This motion provides an opportunity for TDs to do something to help the people that have highlighted the issue of pensions in constituency offices, the length and breadth of the state. I am sure that these same people, along with thousands of women, will look with interest to this debate here this evening and to the vote tomorrow. And I urge all TDs to support this motion as a first step in tackling the various inconsistencies within our pension system. Again, this motion is about fairness. This motion is about equality for everyone when it comes to retirement. Gardaí míle maith agat, Cathaoirleach.
Deputy Brady. Now I have 3 Sinn Féin TDs.